send the students home with social emotional learning worksheets, and we have different ones for elementary, middle, and high school, so they can continue the curriculum at home or with their educator. And often, if the schools are interested, I give them the songs ahead of time so they can start learning them and then keep practicing them and then experience assembly and then keep learning them after. So we also do sample curriculums of, one of my songs is called Fireproof, and so we teach students power poses, but it's choreographed so they can learn what it means to hold your body in confident ways.
Welcome to Rainbow Skies for New Teachers, where we're all about bite-sized tips and simple strategies for bright and busy new teachers.
If you're in your first few years of your career and want to make the rollercoaster ride of teaching more fun, streamlined and stress-free, you're in the right place.
We're Ashleigh and Alisha, the dynamic duo from Rainbow Sky Creations, and we're excited to be your teacher mentors on the go. There are rainbows ahead, my friend.
And together, we're unstoppable. Let's get into today's episode.
Rainbow Sky Creations acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we have recorded this podcast on, the Dharawal and Whadjuk Noongar people. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures. Welcome to Rainbow Skies for New Teachers. Today I'm talking with Caley Rose, a pop singer and songwriter who is on a mission to change the narrative of self-confidence in classrooms with her Music with a Message program. During this interview, we talk about how music is a powerful tool that we're probably underutilising in the classroom, along with how transformational music can be to our souls and well-being. I'm sure you will enjoy my chat today with Caley and probably start thinking about some of your favourite tunes that have played an important role in your life. Let's dive into today's episode. Hello and welcome to Caley Rose. It's so great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, you've got that beautiful accent, and it's not the usual accent we hear in our neck of the woods here in Australia. But can you just first start by telling us a little bit about yourself, Caley?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Caley Rose. I'm very proud now to be able to say that I am the founder of a program called Music with a Message, which brings confidence to your audience. I like to say it in that fun, rhythmic way. We have a school assembly that not only prevents and fights bullying, but also imparts social emotional learning and confidence methods to students through empowering music.
Wow. I love that. Music with a message. And I think so necessary in today's society in terms of that social and emotional learning and that conversation about confidence and self-confidence. I think sometimes we might have thought that it was something that you just get dealt when you're born with your genetic pool.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I thought the girl who sat across from me in French class in high school was just born with it. What is that? Is it Maybelline? Born with it?
Yeah.
Like a hair commercial. But no, anything now I've realized can be learned and grown and taught as well. So confidence has become something that I'm so passionate about. For myself, I became really passionate learning what brought people self-confidence, how they developed it. And now I've developed it for myself. So I created these methods along with some leading child and teen psychologists. And I already had the empowering music, so they go hand in hand. And I'm just trying to impart that to kids, especially kids and teens who have been bullied, because it's so difficult to rebuild your confidence after you've undergone a trauma, any kind of trauma.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's this element where you look at self-confidence, but also it does pair up with that element of self-worth. If you're providing it in a way that's just so beautiful with music, I could just imagine what it's like in these schools that you're going into. It must be quite electrifying and people must be walking out with goosebumps.
Yes, your kids love learning through play, and teens, they're different. We have our middle school and our high school assembly, which I'm a little chiller and a little less, look what I'm giving you, and more, this is what worked for me, and I sit back a little bit and share instead of teach.
Yeah.
But getting people up and dancing, even the hard to reach middle schoolers are up and dancing because the music is really high energy and it's been on the radio all across the country, my country that is.
Yeah.
But actually, one of the DJs who played my music on a station that I cannot think of, and it's hurting me right now, he's Australian, so shout out to him. So yeah, we have some Australian connects, and the internet is this broad, amazing thing that plays music for everyone. But yeah, they think the music is cool for that reason. And it's not kid music. It's appropriate for kids, but it's cool for adults as well. And they get up and they dance, and we bring in musical instruments for Sometimes the middle schoolers do that. It depends. I talk to the educators beforehand and say, what do you think they'd be interested in? Are they interested in participating in that way? Should we bring out the instruments? And most often they're into it, and it's surprised me. The elementary students go for it wholeheartedly. They want to volunteer. I get so many hands volunteering to come up, and it breaks my heart that I can't bring everyone on stage. And so I have methods to get them involved when they're still sitting down. We do lap drums, and we do shout outs in the songs. They get to say, I'm a brave one, and stand up, and all of these empowering phrases that are also affirmations. So it's really helpful, to get that in their mind and into their subconscious. Because music is there for life. We all have songs that have lasted in our minds since childhood. I'm sure you have a bunch. Not just nursery rhymes. I have this song that I have no use for anymore. It's about the Erie Canal, because I'm from Buffalo, New York. So that's stuck in there and it'll never get out. So when those songs are empowering, it gives us a sense of self.
Yeah, absolutely. We are all notorious for having those songs we've been singing from when we're in high school. Can't remember what happened in that human bio exam and what I needed to cram study, but I think I got the lyrics of a Smashing Pumpkins song stuck in my head for about 6 months.
Yeah,
and there's me showing my age there.
That's cool, though. I always feel like Smashing Pumpkins people are cool. But yeah, it's so true. And sometimes a song will come on and we'll just be like, whoa, that's been in there this whole time. Yeah. Like, how is there still space reserved for those lyrics? And why do I not remember the art history dates that I crammed for at my Ivy League school? It's ridiculous.
That's it. And if you're shifting it to be lyrics that are self-affirming and empowering, like that's leaving a real legacy for the students and the children that you are meeting in your assemblies.
Yeah.
So why do you feel music is such a powerful tool in the classroom that is probably being underutilized?
I think two things. It's the fun aspect, because they might not even realize they're learning something if they're putting it to rhythm and rhyme. And then also that lasting power that's lasting in our minds for so long. And like I said, it gets to the subconscious, because if we're singing something that makes us feel empowered, it works on our sense of self sneakily, which is an awesome thing, that deep down we do have these words saying, I am brave, I'm one of the brave ones, I can be strong and I can get through hard things like that. It's in there. As a teacher, when we say things to them, we might not think it's getting through, but it's in there somewhere, and they can pull from those resources when they need it.
Absolutely. What is something teachers will likely notice when they start using music in the classroom as a teaching tool?
So many things. So I started this because I was bullied as a kid when I was 10 years old. And music really, it saved me throughout my life in many ways. And not just the happy music, the cathartic, sad music too. I think sometimes songs and artists might say something emotionally profound that we might not even know that we were feeling. And then we hear certain lyrics and we connect to them. Because a lot of times kids and teens might not have the words for those emotions yet. And so if we get them from an outside source, it's really helpful, because then it articulates those things that we couldn't find words for. And sometimes we don't even need words, right? We were talking about instrumentals too. The music itself can say so much without even needing words. Feeling in that way, I think, helps them express themselves. Like I was saying, bullying, I'm trying to improve our culture of kindness and fight this cycle of bullying, because I'm sure that I was bullied because the person who bullied me got bullied. So when I bring this music in, I also give them these methods to help. What do they do if they meet a bully? Do they have tools to de-escalate the situation? Do they have tools to then make themselves feel better and not believe what the bully is trying to make them feel and what the bully is saying about them? So giving them those tools and reinforcing it through the music will last forever and make it fun, and they won't even realize they're learning it in some ways, but they'll have them when they need them.
Yeah, I think what you said there in terms of giving them the tools to de-escalate the situation, because I think sometimes when you're put into a situation, like exactly you said, it's not about the person who's receiving the treatment. It's about the person who's delivering it. I often listen to too many things, and I can't remember specifically pinpointing where I heard this, but whenever you're in a situation with your mood where you might feel it's really low or life is impossible, that the most easiest way to switch your mood and like your thought patterns, you'll break that neural pathway, is to actually turn music on. Music is the biggest shifter in your physiological body. And I think about it in the classroom. And I was just telling Caley Rose about my little girls, and the same thing would happen in my classrooms where you could see that the situation in the classroom might be a little bit hectic. You might feel like students need to be focusing on your learning, or when they're coming in after break time, you want to set an element of and regrounding. And as much as it's great taking the shoes off and going standing on the lawn and literally grounding themselves.
That's helpful, yeah.
But the ability to just put music on and for that just to shift, what it must just do to our bodies. I think, what do they say? We're made up of 70% liquid. And have you heard of, it's a scientist, and I'm probably deviating off topic. Actually, no, it pairs up.
No, let's go off topic.
I feel like he might have been Japanese, but he was a scientist and he did a study on water, and he had different water in different petri dishes. And when he spoke negative words towards them, they created the most deformed, malfunctioned snow crystals. But when he was talking to them with words of affirmation, empowerment, positive self-motivating words, the water, when it was frozen, transformed into the most magical, symmetrical snowflakes. And I think the same study has done with plants, like when they're put on
I was just going to mention the plant one.
Yeah, you tell us about the plant one.
Yes, you might know it better, but from what I know, when they speak to plants in an encouraging, loving way, the plants react really well and they continue to grow. There was another one where they separated the plants thousands of miles apart and they spoke to them in this way, and the person who raised them felt certain feelings, and they measured that to see if the plant could feel the happy feelings and the sad. The science is incredible, right?
Yes.
And it's in our bodies. Our bodies have so much wisdom.
I do recall they were saying as well that they put on 2 different types of music, like really aggressive, heavy metal music, and the plants grew away from it and was like stilted the growth. And then they put on classical and more hip hop, like upbeat kind of music. And I guess musicians who are listening to this are like, there are certain beats here, girls. But like the plants grew towards it and they grew more luscious.
So we're thinking of 3 different plant experiments, but they're all relevant and awesome and interesting.
Absolutely.
And like I said, if they might not be able to articulate their feelings with words, because language only takes us so far, they might be able to feel it. And especially with special needs kids, I was talking to a teacher about that this morning, and she was saying how her music teacher at her school began going into the classroom, and people would say about certain students, oh, it just sounds like they're yelling. And the music teacher said, no, actually, like when I change the rhythm of the songs, they quote unquote yell differently based on the songs, and it means different things to them. And so it reaches them on a profound level, like you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. With the teachers that you are meeting at these assemblies that you're doing, do you find that teachers are taking the music that they've heard, like your music, and integrating it into the classroom to support their social and emotional learning classes?
Yeah. So I also created a year-long curriculum, which was important to me because I don't want the assembly to just be a one and done experience.
Yes.
I send the students home with social emotional learning worksheets, and we have different ones for elementary, middle, and high school, so they can continue the curriculum at home or with their educator. And often, if the schools are interested, I give them the songs ahead of time so they can start learning them and then keep practicing them and then experience assembly and then keep learning them after. So we also do sample curriculums of, one of my songs is called Fireproof. And so we teach students power poses through Fireproof, and it's choreographed so they can learn what it means to hold your body in confident ways, because studies have been done from Harvard. They were studying job applicants, and they had 2 groups. They had the applicants do power poses before a mock interview, and then they had the other group not do it. And of course, the people interviewing didn't know who was who, but who performed better on the interviews was always the people who did the power poses. And so it's not, and I want to be very clear, like, we're talking about resilience. We're not talking about, oh, these are methods so you can be happy 24/7, because that's humanity. It's not possible, right? To be a human and to be happy all the time. But it's about giving them healthy tools that aren't harmful to themselves or others to get them back to a neutral or hopefully confident and happy state, instead of falling privy to drugs or alcohol or the absolute worst thing in the world, youth suicide. So it's not about being happy every single day, right? It's about resilience and building yourself back up in healthy ways.
Absolutely. There's a reason that we have the flight and flight mode in our system. Moments of stress, we need them. Like, we need that in our bodies for survival. So I love how you said that in terms of, we're going to have low times. We're going to have times that are tough, but it's having the tools to be able to shift that and realize that was a moment, you felt it, you moved through it, and you're moving forward.
Oh, and being comfortable sitting with that discomfort, but knowing that it's not permanent and it will go.
Yes.
It's funny what you said about how much music changes mood. I thought I should have put on happy music this morning when I dropped my daughter off at the airport for 2 weeks to go to her Gigi's house because I was crying. But I'm not going to instantly change my mood. That's not human and that's not healthy. We have to sit with our feelings and feel them.
Yes.
But it's about when you meet a bully, knowing that you don't have to take that person's perception of you on, or it's not even their perception of you, it's their own hurt. So showing that to kids, because I didn't learn that until I was like 30. I go live on TikTok and Instagram a lot to play music, and I'll get trolls in the comments. And now I've finally gotten to a point where I can say, hey, you must be having a really hard day. You want to type about it? If you want to talk about it, I want you to know you're not alone, instead of taking it personally. And it took me so long to build that up. So I want other kids to have that much sooner than I had it.
Absolutely. And to the teachers who are listening to this episode, the same actually goes for what's happening in your classroom. When you have kids who are lashing out, when you maybe have colleagues who are being overreactive to something that you might feel didn't gauge that need for catastrophe, it's usually something that's going on in their world and how they're going about regulating their feelings. So I think any tool that we can add to our tool belt that works for us, that helps us with our regulating and going through the motions of life, its ups and its downs, I think is really important.
Absolutely.
I just love how you've created a curriculum to support social emotional learning using that magical tool of music, because I think unfortunately it's even more necessary in today's society because one, life is just busy, and two, little humans and big humans are bringing a lot of worldly things into the classroom. And touched on like TikTok. I mean, it's such an amazing tool to educate and learn and just connect, but it does have that negative side. And I think especially for young women, it can be hugely impactful on their social and emotional well-being. So you equipping them with these songs and these tools and the power poses. Hey, you're a new teacher doing an interview. Think of Superman when you think of power poses.
And Wonder Woman, totally.
Hey, look, I might be even known to do one of those for a podcast interview and be like, I've got this.
Do you ever watch Ted Lasso? I always think about how, I can't think of the character's name, but the boss, amazing woman who owns the soccer team, she would do power poses before an overwhelming experience that she was about to step into.
Absolutely. Being in such a male-dominated world, she was like, I knew I have to step up as the woman in here.
Absolutely. And also, educators are doing an amazing job, and better than anyone. It's just, there's only so much time, and they're so under pressure with standardized testing and all of these things. So I'm so glad that we are leaning into social emotional learning more. We didn't have any social emotional learning when I was growing up. It was all academic based, which got me here, and I'm thankful for it. But teachers are certainly doing their best. Sometimes it's a system that reform happens slowly because there are so many decision makers involved. I think it's beneficial to bring in outside curriculums and to bring in outside assemblies because teachers are already overtaxed. Let's not give them more pressure. You have to now incorporate this as well as all of the standardized testing that we're going to tax you with.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well, we talk a lot about that there's no learning that's going to happen unless there is an element of connection with whomever is delivering the content. And we had an amazing interview recently, I think it's episode 39 with Caley, and she runs a system called EduCalm. And she talks about how like using those tools of mindfulness or music and grounding and just slowing down the pace and your heartbeat, and it allows for that connection. And I could imagine that with the program that you've provided, that if teachers are even just taking one of your songs to start the day with, or they're doing a transition between lessons and they just put one of your songs on, I could imagine it would be enough to shift the mindset of a few of the students, especially we know you can get caught up in your own thoughts, and the last thing you want to do is, oh, I'm going to sit down and do a maths lesson when I'm thinking about what so-and-so across the classroom has been doing to me during breaks. So I feel like we are underutilizing music as a tool.
That idea, because I know the music teacher has played it, and several music teachers have played it in their classes before and after our assembly, and they told me stories of students singing the songs in the hallway, and it really knocks my socks off and makes me inspired and happy in so many things. But it doesn't have to just be music class, like you're saying. It can be before a math test. A song chock full of affirmations will make you perform better academically, because if you believe that you will do well, you do well. It's scientifically proven. Absolutely.
Oh, that's so good. I think
that idea.
No, you're welcome. I think there's definitely this element where music has so much power. And I recall that there's so many times when I've done an assembly for my students and we're like, okay, guys, we got to host an assembly. And we would take a topic we were learning about. The one I can remember recently was with my year threes, we were learning about planets. And we took a rap about planets and we transformed it into like a performance. And I remember for 3 weeks, the kids were like, can we practice our rap? Can we practice our rap? And you could just see them being able to make those connections about, oh, Earth is the planet that we live on and Pluto is the furthest planet and it's really tiny. And I bet those kids 2 years later would think about planets and would probably be rapping part of that song.
Oh, yeah. I have the U.S. state capitals song, and that's a lot of capitals, 2 whole states. And I'll never forget that song. And my daughter, she has a song for days of the week and primary colors because these tablets give kids so many songs. So, yeah, I absolutely agree. I love that.
Now, if a teacher wants to use music more in the classroom to support learning, is there any advice you could give them?
Yes, other than bringing music with a message in and listening to my music playlist, which we do have a playlist for music with a message, I liked your suggestion of putting rhythm to elements that we're trying to memorize. And even if you don't feel musical, because I know some teachers out there are going to be listening and thinking, I'm not a singer and I don't tend to be and I don't want to be, so don't put that pressure on me. That's fine. But rhythm can be just spoken. You could do spoken word, and that rhythm makes it a little bit more memorable because, again, it gets into our bodies and our bodies have that muscle memory. So that's incredible if you want to go the full shebang and put melody to it, but also not putting pressure on it. Yes, I'm a professional songwriter, so I have written these a certain way, but simplicity is key, especially for kids and teens and memorization. Some of the best written songs have familiar elements from something like a nursery rhyme that we all have the melody to. And you can borrow a melody and a rhythm from an existing song. You guys have Coco Melon that you watch over there? Yeah. I'm sure you do.
Yes.
And so Coco Melon, a lot of times I've noticed, will use the tune and rhythm of Happy Birthday, but they'll do different words to memorize, I don't know, colors or something like that. And they'll use, so many different nursery rhymes. And it's public domain, so nobody's going to get in trouble. And you're allowed, or maybe Happy Birthday. I don't know if the Happy Birthday is public domain yet, but all of those nursery rhymes. And in the classroom, nobody's going to come after you from a music PRO company and say, hold on. But yeah, you can do it as simply as that. So taking the pressure off it in that way, or spoken word. And kids think raps are cool, so spoken word might be the coolest way to do it anyway.
That's it. And I think sometimes throwing it back to the kids, like you're learning about something and just throw it back to them and be like, hey, if you guys reckon you can write a song, get together in groups and put a song together for whatever it might be, whether it's like a history lesson, geography lesson, like even English. You can even challenge them with something to do with math. And I don't know about you, but I've definitely known to sing to my kids what I want them to get done. And just that shift in the sound of my voice is enough for them to be like, what level has mum gone to? And I actually used to do it in the classroom too. Say if my kids were getting I just wanted to get their attention, and I would just start randomly singing what I want them to do. And you just see everybody's heads just go, what has just happened?
That's out of the ordinary. That's fantastic. I love that you use that.
Something that's just built in us to hear the different pitch and the tone and to be like, wow.
Absolutely. Do just a general stomp, clap, stomp, clap. There's so many different ways. I was just thinking that might break up a noisy classroom if you really want to get something in there.
Absolutely. That is definitely the power of actually not even using your words and using your body and the rhythm that you were talking about, because it is a whole package, this amazing body that comes with us.
You were such a great teacher. I love that you were doing that.
It's actually quite funny because I go and drop my daughters off at daycare, and my eldest never wants me to leave. And it's probably because all her mates are flocking towards me and I'm having a chat with all of them. And there's this bit of me that goes, oh, I think I do miss the classroom. I do. I love the teaching part, and the kids is why you do it. It's all the extra noise that comes with it that makes you go, oh.
It's tough. Yeah. There's good and bad to everything. And we all have those different stages of life that we move through. So I get it.
And I was very well known for wrapping up the day and just putting on my music to get my head out of a funk and be like, oh, let's do 30 more minutes of work.
Right person.
And
so
we'll
fantastic.
go home.
I've heard teachers like putting on classical music during quiet time or study time. One of my daughter's teachers did that in preschool. And there are studies that show that putting on classical instrumental music can get absorbed better in your body and brain.
Yeah. To wrap this up, it has been an absolute pleasure chatting to you and talking about all things musical. How can our listeners connect with you?
Yes. So I am located in the United States, but my dream is to bring music with a message internationally. So right now we're traveling in this Airstream trailer, but we're taking it around continental North America, but someday I can get on a plane and take it anywhere. So you can find me, it's Caley, Rose as in the flower. Caley, Rose as in the flower, because people spell Caley many ways. So that's your rhyme and rhythm for that. And then you can find music with a message at my website, CaleyRose.com/music with a message. And you can find my music everywhere music is streamed by searching for Caley Rose. Caley, Roses in the flower.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'll link all that information into our show notes. And Music with a Message, it sounds like it is just starting for it to start infiltrating through the US, which is such a massive country. And we just need more of those Australian DJs getting it out there onto our airways. So Caley, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Wasn't that a fun chat with Caley? Her upbeat, positive energy, I can just see would permeate through her Music with a Message program. I think we should try and get her down to Australia. You could probably hear in the audio a bit of background noise because she had just been traveling across America in her, I'm just going to call it a caravan, but it was a lot more fancier than that. She just had that way about bringing lightness and hope and positivity to the conversation. So I could just see her Music with a Message really making an impact in classrooms that she is visiting. So if you did love today's episode and you feel as though there is a teacher friend of yours who would benefit from this episode and trying to bring music into the classroom a little bit more, make sure you share it with them. It's been a pleasure chatting with you today. And until next time, my friends, there are rainbows ahead and together we're unstoppable.